Welcome everybody back to DHS SportsCenter. I'm Ben Smith.
And I'm Will Bouvier.
On today's show, I will be interviewing our athletic director, Mr. Crisafulli, to talk about the fall season and transitioning to the winter season.
Later in the episode, you'll see another episode of Will's Weekly Sports News.
Stay tuned for that and more on DHS
SportsCenter.
Welcome, guys, to DHS SportsCenter. I am here with our wonderful athletic director, Mr. Crisafulli. Welcome.
Thank you, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing well. Welcome back.
Thank you. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was awesome. I ate a lot of turkey.
Yeah, I did too. I did too.
Anyways, we're going to talk about the fall season and transitioning to the winter season. So let's start off with football. Football, just a young team, just rebuilding. You want to talk about their season so far?
Sure. I thought we had a very productive season. It was one of, as you mentioned, a little bit of a transition. We had many starters graduate, and we only had 13 seniors, and we only had a few returning starters on both sides of the ball. So I think I mentioned in an earlier show, it gives a lot of opportunities to those younger players and those upcoming seniors that maybe didn't have that same opportunity in previous years. And I thought we took advantage of those opportunities. I mean, we do play a pretty competitive schedule, and I think that as the season progressed, we got better and better. And as you mentioned, we do have quite a few young players, so the opportunities and the reps that they got are only going to help down the road. Excellent.
And I also want to say, like, the football team played really well this year. Despite the record, I think, like, we're just a young team. We're just regrowing, and we just had like two quarterbacks this season, Jackson Hart and Nico Morris. But anyways, moving on to that, volleyball, girls volleyball, Final Four for the first time in school history. How does that feel as an athletic director here?
It was great. Very proud of the girls and the coaching staff and support staff. I think this has been a build-up for the last few years. I think the program has really grown to be able to compete with any team and school in the state. I think that was pretty obvious into going as far as that we did. As you mentioned, we won the first time going to the Final Four, which would have been the equivalent of the old school South Sectional Final champions, which Dartmouth has never been that far. And along with going as far as we did, we won the most games in the history of our program. So I thought we had a very good core of seniors to lead, and we're very talented and sprinkled in with a lot of talented underclassmen. And as I mentioned, I thought they played extremely well, and the coaching staff did a phenomenal job with them.
Excellent. So moving on from that, field hockey too. Field hockey, they're also a young team, still regrowing.
Yep.
They made it to the first round against Bishop Fenwick,
Bishop
right?
Fenwick and Peabody, yes.
Peabody, but ended up getting eliminated by Bishop Fenwick. And take it away.
Yeah, again, another program that had a lot of seniors who graduated from the previous year, and opportunities for student athletes to step up and to take those roles in our season. We did finish a half game out of first place. It actually, the very last league game that we played, we tied New Bedford, and if we did win, we would have had a share of the title, which I think would, regardless, it was a great accomplishment to finish second, half game behind Durfee, who we previously beat a week earlier, and kind of avenged one of our losses. And as you mentioned, we did make the tournament. We did go up to Peabody at Bishop Fenwick, which is never an easy drive, during the school day. And we competed hard. Bishop Fenwick just scored 2 more than we did. They did advance, and they also advanced 1 round beyond that. So, we did lose, but we lost to a team that continued to have success in the tournament.
Yeah. Moving on from there, let's talk about another cross country 2 this season. Undefeated, right? Correct?
The boys were undefeated. They were
boys.
5-0. Our girls were 4-1. Both had a phenomenal season. And again, in my 4 years here, that's the most successful cross-country team that we had record-wise. We had a lot of great individual performances. One to note was Elijah Montero, who was the champion.
I was about to mention.
Yep, it was the champion
Montero.
of the SEC individually. And he went on to compete at the state level. He also was named the MVP of the conference for boys lacrosse, cross country. So we never had an MVP in the league. We've incorporated that award this year. So Elijah earned that right and got voted in by the coaches. And so he goes down as our very first cross country league MVP.
Excellent. Also, I think Lauren Kelly won it.
Lauren Kelly did phenomenal. Yep, and she again was one to advance to state competitions. And I think again we have a nice core of student athletes coming back next year, with Elijah leading the boys, and as you mentioned, Lauren leading the girls. And I know that they compete with one another, both the boys and girls, during practice. So I think that's what gets the best out of all of them.
Excellent. I'm gonna probably run out of this. I don't know if I've forgotten any. Oh, soccer, boys and girls soccer.
Boys and girls soccer. So boys soccer just missed out on the tournament by I believe it was 2 games, and again, they play a very, very difficult schedule. One of the top schedules in the state, especially within league, and so they competed in every single game. I think there were a couple of games that, with a few bounces here or there, could have gone our way and definitely could have resulted in a few more wins and a tournament berth, but unfortunately that wasn't in the cards. But we did have a grouping of seniors that were great ambassadors for our school and competed at a very high level, and they have a lot to be proud of. And like I said, I thought Coach Silva did a great job with them. And we do have some players that are younger that are in place that I think can continue the momentum in which the seniors established during their 4 years. Girls soccer finished second in our conference. They qualified for the state tournament. We went up and played at Burlington, which again is never an easy drive. Did very well up there, and then advanced to play to the number 2 seed Masconomet, which is about an hour and a half away. And Masconomet is a phenomenal team and made it, I believe, all the way to the Final Four. And unfortunately, we lost that game and was eliminated from the tournament. But again, another program, a lot to be proud of, and a very bright future.
Another thing I just wanted to add on to Masconomet as well. I think the volleyball got their revenge after the soccer team lost.
Yes. So a little extra with that. So Masconomet was a team that eliminated us in girls soccer last year, and then happened again this year. And so we always had to go up to Masconomet. I always screw up that pronunciation. But their athletic director, who's a really good guy and I'm friendly with, said, well, we have to return the favor now and we have to travel to you for volleyball. And so that was the match that we won to go to the Final Four. So it was our last home game. So that was a great environment that night. A golf team. Golf team finished second in our conference, had a great season as far as wins and loss record. You had quite a few golfers score really well. Went into the conference tournament. We finished second there with a lot of very impressive scores, and we were able to advance and earn a berth into the state tournament as a team, which was a great accomplishment for those kids.
Excellent, excellent. And also, when you were talking about the misconduct with girls soccer, honestly thought to my mind was like the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Every year, Kansas City eliminates Buffalo.
I know. The other team was our cheer team. Our cheer team competed
Regionals, right?
in, if I remember correctly, 5 different competitions. Made it to the regionals, which was a great accomplishment. I'm sorry, it made it to the round right before the regionals, which was a great accomplishment. And their numbers going into the winter time now are the highest they've been in my 4 years. So I think everything that they were able to accomplish within the regular season of finishing very high in all these competitions within our division really built a lot of interest in the program, in which now moving forward into the wintertime was able to build the numbers that we had before. And again, they do a great job during our football games too.
Excellent. They do a very phenomenal job too. Even in the pep rally, I gotta admit, like they did a phenomenal job at the prep rally too.
Yep.
I think that was like the best cheerleading performance at a pep rally that
Can
I've
I just
ever
correct
seen.
one thing? The girls did make the regionals. It wasn't at the state level. The following round.
They finished in fifth
They
in the
finished in
region.
5th at Duxbury High School. Yep, it's a very tough division, very challenging in that division. But unfortunately, we weren't able to advance to the all-around state level. But I think a regional berth and being able to compete in that tournament with all of those great teams was an awesome accomplishment too.
But you thought they did a phenomenal job.
Yes.
Correct? And then one more thing, unified basketball. We got to talk about Austin Shot. Phenomenal shot that made it on SportsCenter's top 10 plays. What was your reaction at first when you
So if on the video itself, I'm actually standing in the corner next to the bench just in a conversation with Mr. Capello. And, Austin obviously shoots, goes in, place erupts. Lots of hugging on the sidelines. Miss KP did come over to us after and say that Austin said before the game that he was going to hit a half-court shot, which I thought was pretty cool. And again, to our surprise, the video was caught by ESPN SportsCenter, and that doesn't always happen. So that's why I say it's a very big surprise. It's not something that happens on a daily basis with high school sports in the country, never mind in our little area in Massachusetts. Yeah. But in order to, for him to make the top 10 was awesome. And I think, it spotlights everything that's great about high school athletics and the Dartmouth athletic program.
That shot really, I remember the day I watched the shot, I remember watching it on replay. Not on SportsCenter, but I was watching it on on the news, and I was the one that actually made the call. Santos with the shot. Oh, he made it in, and I was shocked at first. I have to admit, I was shocked. It was like a surprise and it was unexpected at first.
Yep.
I didn't think it was ever gonna happen. And he did it once against Durfee, and he missed by a mile. I think he missed.
I mean, that's certainly far from an easy shot. So, you could shoot that ball 100 times and maybe 1 or 2 of them actually go in. And fortunately, we had the camera crew there that day, and the one that he shot went in.
Yeah, and then they have that memory for the lifetime.
Absolutely.
The whole entire family.
Absolutely.
And also, just next thing is transitioning to the winter season. Family IDs are finally closed. We have the rosters now. You want to tell everybody about the sports that we're offering?
Sure. We have a girls basketball program, boys basketball, boys indoor track, girls indoor track. We have our boys ice hockey. We have a girls ice hockey co-op with Bishop Stang, who is the host school. And we actually have a co-op with swimming swimming and diving with Bishop Stang, which has gained a little bit of interest with some of our student athletes. Yeah,
Swimming, that's
swimming.
nice. Though.
You should consider it. You should consider it.
I probably would drown in the middle of the.
No,
I'm kidding.
no. But our numbers are very healthy in all of those programs. I think that before kind of getting ahead of ourselves, I certainly don't want to make any predictions as to how successful teams will or could be or will be. I do think that there are many talented student athletes that are going to be participating in the winter in all of those programs. I mean, we do have 3 new head coaches. We have Mark Rossi, who is our new head coach, replacing Coach Capello in ice hockey for boys. We have Nick Simonetti, who was our JV coach for boys basketball, who has been elevated for our varsity boys head coach, and then Brian Jalbert, who was our JV girls head coach. He's been elevated for the varsity for girls. So we're really excited about our 3 of our new coaches. I know the kids are also, and I know that those coaches are chomping at the bit to really get going.
I'm excited for those 3 coaches who just coming in, the newest coaches and don't kind of know Dartmouth High School a little. I mean, those 2, Brian Jalbert and Nick Simonetti, we're going to be interviewing them the next episode here on DHS SportsCenter. But I gotta say, they know a lot of their teams very well, and they know a lot of Dartmouth. And I think Nick was a graduate here at one point.
Yes, 2014, he was a 1,000-point scorer. I believe he was the 3rd leading scorer in the history of our school. He was a 4-year player, and like I said, he was the JV coach for a handful of years, and kind of helped out before that, and we're really excited about him.
Are we doing a court signing day for Steve Gaspar?
Yep, we're actually going to be doing a press release by the end of this week. It's going to be January 6th, which is a Friday, and we're going to be playing New Bedford that day. We're going to do a boy-girl varsity doubleheader, and we're going to be dedicating the court in between both games.
Yeah, excellent.
So it's going to be an awesome night.
I'm hoping me and Will get on the coverage in that game. That's going to be fun.
Sure. Do you need me to talk to anyone about that?
But I was going to say about co-oping with Stang. Do they typically wear the Stang gear and stuff like that?
Yep. So the host school is their sport.
Yeah.
So in a co-op, we're actually supplying them with student athletes that go play on their team.
Yeah.
So that's how it works. Also, winter cheer, as I referenced earlier, is a winter sport, and their numbers are much higher than they've been in a number of years. So again, we're real excited about that group.
Winter cheer does basketball games too, correct?
Correct. Yep. And competitions.
And competitions, excellent. One more thing too. Hockey with Coach Capello gone, and bringing in Mark Rossi. You think a hockey team will go on a roll with them? Will he?
Sure. I mean, I think Coach Capello was here for 31 years.
Left a lot.
And he created such a strong culture that whoever would take over, and Coach Rossi's going to take over, he's taking over a very healthy program. And like I said, Coach Capello and Coach Rose and Coach Martin and all of the volunteers that have worked over the years have done such a great job of really kind of setting everything up to be able to pass the program on to someone. And Coach Rossi is very highly qualified. He was the head coach at New Bedford High School, and I know that he's very, very close and friendly with our previous coaches. So the transition has been seamless.
It's like you and John Karen before, not John.
Jeff Karen, yep.
Jeff Karen.
Yep. Yep. So that was an easy transition because obviously we had a previous relationship.
Yeah, and you
before.
and Jeff Karen had a great relationship together. But
absolutely.
Thank you for coming on the show today. I appreciate
You're
our
very
time.
welcome. I do have one question for you.
What?
I hope my present that you're getting me is a little bit bigger than this. All right. Great things can come in small boxes, but I don't know. I think mine needs to be a little bit.
All right.
Bigger. So,
thank you for coming on the show today.
You're very welcome, Ben.
Hello, and welcome back to Will's Weekly Sports News, my segment where we take a look at the recent news and some of our favorite professional and collegiate sports. To start, let's dive into Week 12 of the NFL. The Buffalo Bills and Detroit Lions faced off for the first of 3 games on Thanksgiving. Bills quarterback Josh Allen was questionable coming into this game with a minor elbow injury. That proved to be a myth as Allen went 24 for 42 with 253 passing yards along with 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Another standout player for the Bills was neither Stephon Diggs or Gabe Davis, but a different receiver, that being Isaiah McKenzie, who racked up 96 receiving yards and a touchdown. On the Lions side of things, quarterback Jared Goff went 23 for 37 with 240 yards and a touchdown. Goff clearly had a favorite target in this game, that being wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, who went off with 9 receptions, 122 yards, and was able to find the end zone. The game would come down to a field goal by Bills kicker Tyler Bass that would put Buffalo just over the edge to get the win over the Lions, with a final score of 28-25. The Bills improved to 8-3 while Detroit falls to 4-7. Upset alert! On Sunday, November 27th, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveled to Paul Brown Stadium to face the Cleveland Browns. The Bucs, now having a fully healthy Chris Godwin, were favorites to take the win. However, Browns quarterback Jacoby Brissett had other plans, throwing for 210 yards with a touchdown and an interception. But carrying the Browns offense and the pigskin was Browns running back Nick Chubb, who had 26 carries for 116 yards and had the game-winning touchdown for the Browns in overtime. The final score in Cleveland was 23-17, with the Browns improving to 4-7 and Tampa Bay falling to 5-6. Moving along from the NFL, in NCAA college football, the Nebraska Cornhuskers have officially found their new head coach, that being none other than former Carolina Panthers coach Matt Rhule. The Panthers fired Rhule after Week 5 this season. Rhule returns to the college level after previously coaching the Baylor Bears from 2017 to 2019 and the Temple Owls from 2013 to 2016. I personally think this was a great move by Nebraska, as Rhule has found much success in his previous head coaching jobs in the NCAA. Moving on from football, this past weekend, boxing fans saw the Gypsy King himself back in the ring when Tyson Fury fought Derek Chisora for Tyson's WBC heavyweight belt at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, England. This was the trilogy fight to a long-time rivalry between Fury and Chisora, with their first fight back in 2011 where Fury won by unanimous decision, their second fight in 2014 where Fury won by unanimous decision, and now in their third fight in 2022, referee Victor Laughlin stopped the bout after 10 dominating rounds, awarding Fury the win. Fury called out heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk after the win, with some choice words for the Ukrainian. That could be the future fight where Fury can become undisputed champ, but for now, we have to see what plays out for the other heavyweights like Deontay Wilder, Andy Ruiz Jr., and Anthony Joshua. In addition to that Saturday clash, fight fans also got to see UFC Fight Night Holland vs. Thompson at the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. A stacked card, this had massive fights on both the main card and the preliminary card. On the prelims, UFC veterans like Michael Johnson and Clay Guida both picked up decision wins, showing that they have no plans of retirement anytime soon. On the main card, a highly anticipated heavyweight clash ensued when number 4, Tai Tuivasa, took on number 5, Sergey Pavlovich. Things did not go well for Tuivasa, who got TKO'd 54 seconds into the fight. Sad to see Tai on a 2-fight losing streak now. However, the heavyweights now have a new contender in Pavlovich. The co-main of the night was a welterweight bout between Rafael dos Anjos and Brian Barberena. Dos Anjos keeps his wonderful resume in Florida when he submitted Barberena in round 2. In the main event, a welterweight fight between Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Kevin Trailblazer Holland. Thompson, who hasn't fought in almost a year, got fans going with his amazing striking and crazy performance. The 4th fight this year for Kevin Holland sadly ended with a gruesome hand injury and his team calling the fight by the end of round 4. Following up this amazing fight night will be UFC 282, live on pay-per-view from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, where the light heavyweight championship takes place between number 3 ranked Jan Blachowicz and number 4 ranked Magomed Ankalaev. I think Ankalaev is going to win, and he will do so in a dominating fashion. Other fighters on that card include Paddy Pimblett in the co-main event facing Jared Gordon at lightweight, and Darren Till making his return to the octagon. And lastly, leaving MMA and transitioning to baseball, MLB free agency has begun. And some notable signings begin with the MVP, Aaron Judge, returning to the New York Yankees on a 9-year deal. The best pitcher in the league, Jacob deGrom, leaves the New York Mets for the Texas Rangers on a 5-year deal. Cody Bellinger leaves the Los Angeles Dodgers for the Chicago Cubs on a 1-year deal. Justin Verlander replaces Jacob deGrom on the Mets on a 2-year deal. And Trey Turner signs with the NL Champs and inks an 11-year deal with the Philadelphia Phillies. That's it for this week's edition of Will's Weekly Sports News. Stay tuned for next episode.
Thank you all for watching today's episode of DHS SportsCenter. Stay tuned for our next interview, where we'll be interviewing the 2 newest basketball coaches from the Dartmouth High School basketball team, girls varsity, Brian Jalbert, and for the boys varsity basketball team, Coach Nick Simonetti.
If you like DHS SportsCenter and you want to see more, subscribe to DHS TV Media on YouTube. Hit that bell notification and like the video.
See you next time on DHS
SportsCenter.